Introduction. It's great to be back in another edition of Hope Saves the Day. Today, we have a really special guest on our program as we kind of step away about talking about autism. But our guest today is extremely inspirational and is going to talk about overcoming challenges and obstacles in life. He's an actor, a producer, and author. He was also known for The Karate Kid 3 as Mr. Mike Barnes. And of course, all of our soap opera stars out there for General Hospital, The Bold and the Beautiful, The Young and the Restless out there. We know who this character is, and people love you and adore you. And of course, the Emmy-winning star of the Studio City on Amazon Prime. I'd like to really give a warm welcome to Sean Kanan on our program.
Paul, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, Sean, just thank you for taking the time, spend with us today. Again, your story, again, and I mentioned earlier, just really resonated with me personally. And so many people I've been talking to, about your book, which we'll talk about shortly, obviously, just really connecting the dots for a lot of people in their lives as they're going through a lot of hard times today. Right. So, so first I'd like to start off, Sean, obviously, some of your background. I know you're from Cleveland, Ohio. You were born there and then kind of moved to the East Coast, which is where we are. I'm from New Jersey. So I'm an East Coast guy. So I know you lived in Pennsylvania, so what was like growing up in PA and kind of like how you got into martial arts and then how you got into acting, just kind of like how that path kind of followed your way.
Okay. I'm going to try and encapsulate an answer for both of those questions. So, as a kind of an awkward and insecure young child growing up in a pretty hard scrabbled Western Pennsylvania steel town, I found myself the target of bullies quite frequently. And before I ever discovered the martial arts dojo, I discovered another sort of oasis of escape, which was the movie theater. And as a young guy, my earliest mentors were Clint Eastwood as the outlaw Josie Wales, and Rocky Balboa, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and sitting in a theater watching these bigger than life characters on a giant screen. It did a couple things. It first showed me a world that was certainly beyond my immediate horizon. It showed me. And I still believe this about film. It really shows us the best of who we can become. I mean, when film is good, we get so inspired. It really wants us to become better people. And so I was affected by that. And, I didn't know it unbeknownst at the time, but it was really planting the seeds for me to create the desire to become an actor. And so that's sort of the inception of where I started thinking about becoming an actor. As years later, I stepped into my first martial arts dojo when I was, I think, 14 or 15 years old. And it was, a life-changing thing for me. I learned discipline and focus and confidence and a lot of the things that are, the very best attributes of what martial arts offers. And, as I became more involved in martial arts, bullying dissipated. And that's how those two things kind of the nexus from, how I became an actor and how I got involved in martial arts.
Wow. That's great. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing how, that journey has progressed. I mean, and where you are sitting today. Right. Yeah. And I'm sure you can pay some homage to what martial arts has done for your life.
Martial arts has been an invaluable, I don't want to say asset. It's one of the best things that I've ever been involved in. And, I can't recommend it enough for everybody. Learning to defend yourself is important. And it's absolutely a byproduct of training in martial arts, but it's only one aspect of it. And I say that because to me, you can start learning martial arts at 70 and you're not going to be able to do a lot of the stuff somebody else can do, but you can infer a lot of the very best qualities of what it means to be a martial artist. Strength, discipline, focus, courage, empathy, compassion, camaraderie. There's just so much stuff that you can learn. I think it's an amazing thing for kids to do. And it's not simply relegated to people that are young and necessarily in really good physical condition. I mean, everybody can achieve what their level of success is within the parameters of their capabilities.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I think, I think also, Sean, it's important to find the right school. It's funny, talk about
Very
the
much.
kid franchise, right? Obviously, John Kreese's methods, little harsh, right? We'll talk about a little about that later. But, when we look at, finding that right school that you fit in too, and sometimes you got to try other schools. And I think that's okay. You want to, if you're a parent of a child, you probably want to go and watch a couple classes, see the interaction, see how the, sensei's interacting with the students. And
Right.
Sometimes you get a good insight on what's being taught there, because to me, as you know, like when you join a dojo, it's a family. You become a family.
Yeah,
instantly.
very much.
Everybody that's in that school.
Yeah, and if you're sending your child to a dojo, it's not unlike school. You are giving your child's formative development over to another adult, and it's imperative that that adult is imparting only the very best attributes of martial arts to the child.
Yeah, no, that's true. So Sean, let's say Karate Kid 3. How did this happen? How did you hear about it? What made you even think of doing this? Obviously, you're doing martial arts. What made you think going after
So I tell the story extensively in my book, Way of the Cobra, but the long and the short of it was that I had come out to Los Angeles to pursue my career in acting, to finish my political science degree at UCLA. Master Fumio Demura, who was the head of our umbrella school for the school that absorbed my dojo in Western Pennsylvania, Newcastle, Pennsylvania, was also Pat Morita's stunt double. And he knew that I wanted to be an actor, and he told me that there was going to be this audition, this open call for the new bad guy in Karate Kid 3. And I remember sitting, I'd gone back to my hometown for a break from school, and I was sitting with some buddies on the stoop of a gas station outside a convenient mart. And I said, there's this role to play the new bad guy in Karate Kid 3. And I said, I'm going to get it. And they didn't laugh at me. They looked at me and they were like, go get it, man. And I just, from the very beginning, I felt a weird sense of destiny pulling me towards it. I know it sounds crazy, but so I ultimately went to the open call, and there's John Avildsen, who won the Academy Award for Rocky, and he had me do an improv with him and brought me into the soundstage. And there's Ralph Macchio, and I did a screen test with Ralph, and I thought I did a really good job, and I wound up not getting the part. I wasn't the first choice, so they hired someone else. And after about a week, it was evident that he wasn't going to work out, and they called me back. And wow, the rest is history.
Yeah, you must have left some impact if they called you back, obviously. And again, destiny played its part there. You know that.
Yeah, it sure did.
So you planted the seed, and it was meant to be. So,
yeah, it was incredible.
So let's talk about that. So now you get casted the part, right? And it's funny. I've met Ralph Macchio, and I've talked to him actually. He's a Long Island guy, so I have family out there. I've actually met Ralph a few times and talked to him about that. And he says you kind of scared the crap out of him. So what did you do? I mean, you had this intense.
Well, yeah, I'm a pretty nice guy, but yeah. I guess I can sum it up some intensity when I need to. And, they asked me to scare them, and, I did, I guess. I talk about this in the book. I was like, this guy's the star of the film, and I'm wondering, did I go too far? Because if he thinks I'm a legitimate psycho, they're not going to hire me. So I was just, I guess, the right amount of psycho.
Balance. Yeah, the right balance. Yeah. But it worked. I mean, and on film, it worked big time, obviously. Thank you. So you get casted, you start shooting. I mean, that had to have been surreal for you, obviously.
Absolutely surreal. I grew up watching Happy Days, which is where I first came to know Pat Morita. He was Arnold.
Yep.
And I was the guy that bought a ticket for the Karate Kid and the Karate Kid 2 in the theaters. And now here I am filming Karate Kid 3. And I've told this story a lot, but I was gravely injured on the set.
Yes.
Almost died. And, I had to fight my way back into the film. Christmas Day, 1989. Well, everyone else was probably with their family getting ready to celebrate the holidays. I was in the emergency room of Humana Sunrise Hospital being told that they weren't sure they could save my life. I had begun to have some leg pain in my left upper thigh. I thought that it was from all the martial arts I was doing. Pain got worse. I took more and more aspirin, which is a blood thinner. It turned out I had perforated my greater omentum. And I say in the book, I said, I didn't even know what a greater omentum was, but it's around your intestine. Long story short, I was exacerbating the internal bleeding with the aspirin I was taking, and I passed out and had lost a tremendous amount of blood. And they had to, they opened me. I'll tell you a funny story. My wife and I started watching this show. It's a medical drama on TV, and there's an operation last night, and they have the guy's intestines out of his body next to him, and I was like, "Good Lord, look at that!" Like, and there's a pool of blood in his abdomen, and I was like, "Oh my God!" And she said, "What do you think they did to you?"
Right.
And I said, "Not that." And she said, "Yeah, that." My wife was a nurse. And she said, "They took all your intestines out and they had to go through them like this because they didn't know where the hole was."
Oh my God.
And I was like, "They did that to me?" And she said, "Yeah." And seeing it, visually represented like that, it really drove home just how serious it was.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And, I recount the story in the book for two reasons. It's a great story.
No, absolutely.
And people who are fans of the Karate Kid want to have that, sort of behind the curtain view of it.
Right.
But I tell this story because I teach a lesson in the book where I talk about the fact that human beings very rarely are able to see the 30,000-foot view of what's coming. And so we tend to assign binary determinations to events. In other words, something happens, this is good, this is bad. Well, a lot of times that which begins bad winds up being really good. I tell the story of how when I got divorced 20 years ago, it was devastating to me. It was a failure. It was all these things. Had that not happened, it wouldn't have opened me up to meet my wife, who's the love of my life, my soulmate, all of that. So with the expansion of time, very often that which seems negative proves to be beneficial. And so I tell the story of my getting the job. In the beginning, I think I killed the audition. I'm walking on cloud 9. Then I find out I didn't get the job. Boom. Now I'm at the lowest point in my life. Yeah. I get the job. Boom. Walking on cloud 9 again. I get a life-threatening injury. How could the universe have done this to me?
Yes. Yeah.
Back, I fight my way back into the film. I finished the film back on top emotionally. Well, the point is that, with all of the twists and turns, those things that initially seemed really negative, in many cases proved to be very positive, not the least of which was I wouldn't wish that experience on anybody, but I wouldn't trade it in my life for the world, because my having gone through the abject terror of being told that they might not be able to save my life, and the absolute torment and frustration of losing the role after working so hard to get it, and then ultimately winning it back and doing all of my own stunts in the film, all of my own martial arts stunts. There was a car stunt I didn't do. Right. It was one of the greatest life lessons I've ever encountered. And at that time, it forced me to reveal a part of my character. Character is revealed in steel is tempered in the fire, and the moments of adversity are what reveal our character. And at least for that moment, at that point in time, it revealed a part of my character that allowed me to be a fighter and to overcome that obstacle. And so for that reason, Karate Kid 3 is so special to me. A lot of people think, well, it must be so special because, it was an international franchise and it made you famous throughout the world. Yeah, but that's not the real reason. Right. The real reason, if nobody knew who I was from Karate Kid 3, that wouldn't probably bother me as much as if somebody took away the life experience of what happened.
Yeah. No, that's beautifully, you wrapped that up very nicely, Sean. I mean, I think,
I know, Paul, that's why I wrote a book.
yeah, well, that's it. That's it. It's true. I mean, honestly, it's amazing because, most people, they have those tragedies happen and they get stuck, right? And they're not able to overcome. And I think, again, the way that Cobra sharing your experiences is about overcoming obstacles that are in front of you. So when you got back, you were in the hospital, you dragged yourself out of the hospital, literally, right? To do this movie. And you still weren't well though, right?
I wasn't well at all.
I don't know how you physically were able to do that. So I guess you say mind over matter. I don't know. How did you do that?
I was really angry. I was really angry that the studio called me and there were no flowers. There was no get well card. It was like, look, you got to be back at work in like 2 weeks or we're recasting the role. Oh. And that anger became my why.
Okay.
Why I was going to do it. You have to have a why to reach any goal. And the anger gave way to drive and passion. Right. And it propelled me, and I had them discharge me against medical advice. I had a 13-inch scar with staples down my abdomen, had the staples removed as quickly as possible and started working out with a guy who was a lineman for the Rams. He started rehabilitating me, and it was hard and it was painful, and it literally was blood, sweat, and tears. Yeah. And yes. They said, okay, we're going to keep you in the movie, but we're going to have a stuntman do all your stunts. And that was also painful. And I convinced them that I was healthy enough to do it. I wasn't, but I did it.
Yeah.
And
you did.
I lost
90%.
I lost a tremendous amount of weight. I mean, I probably screen tested for the film at 185, probably came back about 160.
Wow.
And it, like I said, it was a life-changing event in my life.
Yeah. Well, I'm proud of you that you were able to share this. That's not easy to do, Sean. Honestly, when we look at certain things, like you want to forget about them, right? And put them in the closet, as we say, because even though the story came out great at the end, right? When we look at the end results, but it's the journey, right? It's the journey and all the pieces.
You just raised an interesting point. You mentioned the word story, and the stories that we attach to events are so important. Human beings are not great historians. Like if I asked you to recount a very important event in your life and you told it to me as clearly as you could, and then if we were able to go in a movie theater and watch it as it actually really happened, probably at best it would be about 40% accurate. Because our stories that we attach to things are seen and later remembered through a prism that has a million variables. Our sociology, our age, our sexuality, or who else was involved, a million different things. And so I say that if we agree that we're pretty bad storytellers, why not attach a story to an event that is positive and empowering, that's going to drive you and be a why, rather than a story that's going to hang around your neck like an albatross? And, one of the best analogies I can give is if you imagine two boys in identical households where the father is an alcoholic, he can't keep the job, he's abusive to the family, drinks away all the money. And the first boy says, look, you know what, it's in my DNA, this is who I am. And he years later grows up to really just mirror the exact behavior of his father. And another boy in the other house says, I am never going to put my family in jeopardy, lose a job, I'm never going to be like my father. And he grows up and becomes a highly successful individual. They both had the same set of circumstances. They both attached a different story to it, and it made all the difference.
Yeah, it's amazing how, you have two people, same family, and each choose different path, right?
Yep.
So, anyway, I want to show you the book here. So again, The Way of the Cobra, I have it in my hand. Again, got this on Amazon. So I do want to share that out there.
And like we said, you may be the very first person to have purchased it on Amazon. I will know tomorrow, because tomorrow is when the first week of analytics comes
hopefully
out.
I get the props, man. I want all.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's amazing.
One thing I do want to share, I just love how, you pay kind of honor to your wife, Michelle, in the book. I did read that, and that was actually very touching to me, because I recently just had 25 years of marriage myself, which a lot of
Congratulations.
journey with
That's
my wife. And it's not been an easy journey, but she's been by me and I've been by her side, and we've gotten through a lot of adversity in our life. Having an autistic child is definitely a challenge, So, but I can really appreciate that, paying that tribute to your wife, and that I have tremendous respect.
Absolutely fundamental to getting the book done. The book probably would be sitting in a desk at this point right now if it weren't for her. She designed the cover, which is no small feat. She taught herself the program that allowed her to not only edit the book, but to format it. Did everything technical for the book. And she did it having never done it before. Wow. And, and she would read what I wrote. She would give, input. She would help organize thoughts. And she really, I dedicate it to her. I also dedicate it to my readers, because I say that, we are kindred spirits and seekers, but Michelle was absolutely instrumental in getting it done.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention her because, again, I loved how you brought that in, because I feel she deserves a lot of credit.
Oh, yeah.
So she needs to hear this as well, Sean.
I always say, listen,
you tell her, but then to hear it on radio, she might be like, oh, wow, really appreciate that. So
I always say, when it comes to wives, the right one will make you and the wrong one will break you.
Yeah, this is very true. This is very true. So anyway, so Sean, so how did you come up with this structure? Again, being someone who grew up in the martial art worlds, and again, this book is for anybody, right? So this is the way it's written is so well done. You explain everything, very easy terms, layman's terms, if you want to use that. And it's not a fancy book where it's at a lot of scientific technical terms. Right. It really just lays it out in almost like building blocks. How you do it and you're using the analogy of white belt, and then you're using all the different rankings of the martial arts belts, which I thought was pretty clever to do. But so let's start with the book. Okay, like step one, what could people expect, right? They open the book, they're reading it. Well, the first thing they're going to get from it.
The structure of the book is set up that I'm the sensei and you're a student in my dojo, the dojo of life, of Cobra life. Cobra is an acronym formed from the words character, optimization, balance, respect, and abundance. And I take you through white belt through black belt. And, the book has, I like to think that the voice in the book is my voice. I mean, I think it's funny sometimes. It's cheeky, and other times it's serious and it's thoughtful. And it's motivating. And, I knew that if I was going to elevate myself to the place of being a sensei in the book, that it was important that it couldn't come off preachy. And to do that, I thought the best way was to share stories about my private life and some of the struggles that I've had. And by offering my reader a sense of my humility and vulnerability, and how, I'm not a guy that's levitating 3 feet above the ground, living, in a hut in Kathmandu, but I'm a guy that has made every one of these mistakes a dozen times and have now learned from it. They would be able to connect with me because, with all due respect with you and having the visual component of a podcast, you can connect a little easier when you're watching someone and seeing them, but when you're reading their words, very difficult to connect with somebody. And so that was a huge, I don't want to say it was a hurdle, but I knew it was imperative that I did it. And I think that I did it effectively. And that when people read this, they're able to hear my voice, and that it's supportive, but it's funny and it's kind of no nonsense.
Yeah.
And
you get right to the point. I mean, you pretty much, it's like, when you talk about stuff in your head, right, where it's good, you get a lot of stuff that creates false views of things, right? Perspective. And you talk about refocusing that priorities and your perspective on things and overcoming challenges. And again, a lot of times we are our worst enemies, right? We stand in our own way.
Oh, absolutely.
Negative thoughts creep in very easily.
two of the chapters that I really am proud of are the chapters that deal with our inner child and the inner critic, because everybody has one of each. And, the inner child causes a lot of problems for everybody, because generally people relegate two things to their inner child. They either hate it because they see it as a young, impotent version of themselves that was unable to handle the challenges at the time, or they feel a lot of self-loathing because now, as an adult that could have easily handled those situations that you encountered as a child, or could have handled them better, they're angry with themselves for not being able to save their inner child way back then. So that chapter really deals with recognizing the fact that your inner child is not who you are. It is a representation of who you were based upon all the toxic shame and all the criticism and negativity that was foisted upon you as a child who didn't have the life experience to handle what was going on. And the other part of it is that now, as an adult who could have much better handled those situations, well, you couldn't have handled them because you couldn't have been there. You can't be you now in the present unless you have a time machine, and back then. So there's two things you have to do. You have to tell your inner child that you're sorry that you couldn't be there and you did the best you could. And then you got to forgive yourself. You got to forgive yourself for not doing it. And you gotta forgive that little kid inside of you who wasn't able to handle it. And I say one of the best ways to do it is find a tangible representation of yourself, how you envision your inner child. I mean, I have a picture of my inner child. I carry it with me. It might be a teddy bear. It might be a catcher's mitt. It could be a lot of different things. And focus in on that and make that apology to the representation of your inner child, and apologize to yourself, and then let it go. And you'll be amazed at how the idea of your inner child, you've now changed the story about it. And it now becomes something that empowers you and can even become a source of creativity instead of a source of humiliation. And regarding the inner critic, we all have an inner critic. It's that voice inside of us. We all know it. Pops up at exactly the point in time when you don't want it to. You're getting ready for a big meeting. You're getting ready for a big date, and it's looking in the mirror with you, saying, what are you kidding me? You think she's never be interested in you? Blah, blah. And here's the thing: the inner critic actually is trying to help you. They're just terrible communicators. They're trying to warn you off of danger. And so I talk a lot about how to silence that voice. It takes time and it takes practice. But if you get nothing else out of the book, if you can do some work on healing the relationship with that inner child and being able to at least mitigate the voice of the inner critic, it's going to be of incredible help to you as a human being. I know it's helped me immensely.
Yeah, no, that's big. I mean, that's some huge advice. I mean, honestly, because again, our mind does play tricks on you. Like you said, you had that big interview coming up, and you could be confident up until that 20 minutes before that interview, and then all of a sudden it creeps in. You can't let that creep in, and it will.
Yeah, and I give you some great strategies how to combat that. And
yeah, no, it's really great. I mean, again, it's so well written. I mean, again,
thank you.
And yourself. I mean, again, the way everything is laid out in the book, I really think this can help so many people that could read this book. I really think, because again, you shared real life experience. This is not, again, you're not a doctor,
right.
You wrote this from real life experience, sharing your story. And I think the most powerful tool, and not a lot of people do this, they'll go deep, right? You share the deep, dark sides of some of the real hard things that you had to overcome. but then how you overcame it and where you are today.
I think it's important. I think, when I started writing the book in earnest, I was still dealing with some demons and some behavior that I knew that I needed to get rid of. And, I realized that I can't put this book out there unless I'm living the life that I'm espousing. And writing the book really saved my life. I mean, it really helped me become the man that I always knew was in there, but there was just a lot of crap hanging off it. Kind of like when if you get out of a mud puddle. I mean, I knew there was a clean, good guy in there, but I had a lot of crap I just needed to get off of me.
Almost like attachments that you had hanging.
Yeah. And the book, the experience of writing the book and now interacting with people like you who are reading it, it's changed me profoundly. And it's been one of the greatest gifts I've ever received.
No, that's incredible, man. I'm really touched emotionally. I feel like my throat's welling up tears. I can feel the emotion coming through, and that's not acting. So that's a real emotion for real. And again, I think a lot of people that will get their hands on this book and read the story and have a chance to really share this. And how's this impacted your children, right? I know you have some adopted children, but you've remarried and you kind of like the stepdad. And how's that with you with that?
They're all grown up and out of the house and living lives, but I think it's just allowed me to relate to them in a way that is more empathetic and being a better listener and dad. And, I feel like sometimes they were waiting for me to kind of catch up rather than me waiting for them. But it certainly has improved the quality of our relationship.
That's great.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I mean, I was wondering that. I said, had this experience really improved relationships in general with probably anyone you're interacting with now?
It does. I mean, I think I've always, been a good guy and, never come from a place of ever wanting to be hurtful or malicious. But, I think it's just kind of helped me become more the authentic person that I like to think I am now, more connected to myself and have the ability to connect more with everyone around me.
And I also love some of the philanthropy that you do too. Let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you're involved with over the years that you've been really passionate about as well.
Well, I've been very passionate about being an advocate for anti-bullying.
Yes.
I serve as one of the Young Man's Youth Ambassadors for Buddha Bullying, which is a 501c3. Go into schools, talk to kids in the trenches about bullying. That's something I'm very passionate about. My wife and I have done a lot of work on behalf of animal advocacy. We're both huge dog lovers.
That's good.
My motto is this. My motto is I try to never say no. I don't have. I did a huge event in Los Angeles for autism a couple of years back. I was one of the keynote speakers, and that was an amazing event. I try whenever my schedule lets me to say yes. And, it's kind of that thing, whatever kindness I can do as I walk this path, I try to do it.
That's awesome. I wish more people would do that, Sean, in your industry. And there are some great people, but there are some people that don't do enough, as you know. Right. But I can really generally appreciate what you're trying to do to help others and taking the time because, I got, and again, this is very small. I got a little firsthand perspective of filming something. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of, you're there all day. People don't realize, they think, oh, you come in, you'd say a couple lines, you go home. It's not it's a lot
of preparation.
Oh my God. I can't imagine what it was like doing the soap operas when you're shooting so much in 1 week. It's incredible.
I have days where I have, 30, 35 pages of dialogue. I have weeks where I have over 100.
I don't know how you retain that information.
I guess it's a muscle, but it's what I do. I mean, I'm sure there's things that you do
Yeah, sure. No, absolutely.
I'm gonna marvel at too. So it's just, it's a prerequisite. People think that the memorization of the dialogue is the hardest part. It's not. That's the basis of what you have to do. The hardest part is, how am I going to make this interesting, compelling, and speak the truth?
Make it real. Make it feel real.
Real. Yeah.
Yeah. So how it portrays on the screen. I also heard that you're a little bit of an advocate of a chef too. And being a chef myself, I graduated at the Culinary Institute of America back in 1991. I was a chef for about 30 years now. I kind of shifted gears in my career, but I've done a lot of great culinary cuisines over the years. So I heard you like to cook as well.
Yeah, I love to cook. My second book was called The Modern Gentleman: Cooking and Entertaining with Sean Kanan. And it is a cookbook, but it's a hybrid. It's also a book where there are lots of chapters about how to be the best guy you can be. It teaches men how to be the best men they can be, and it gives women an inside look behind the curtain of sort of how guys think. And there's a lot of chapters like, the modern gentleman learns a language. And I talk about how studying foreign languages has played such a profound role in my life. Or the modern gentleman defends himself. And I talk about how martial arts has had a profound effect on my life. And so it's a book I'm very proud of. I think you can get it on Amazon too. And
I think I have, actually, I saw it listed up there.
Yeah. So, writing is that I've been doing for as long as I can remember, and I'm already working on the follow-up book for Way of the Cobra.
Okay, so, all right. So more to come. We'll have to definitely have
more to come back. Sure,
yeah, absolutely. It was funny. We were talking to a bunch of friends of mine, and I don't know if this has ever come up, but now with Cobra Kai, being such a huge success, somebody was saying, well, what about a spinoff of Mike Barnes? Like,
I like it.
Story of Mike Barnes. Think about that.
Like where their head's at.
Think about that, right?
Yeah.
That would be some powerful stuff, like the story. Because, we want to know more of the background of Mike Barnes and where he came.
Absolutely. Right? I wish I could say more.
I know you can't, but that's okay. But yeah, we're just very appreciative of that. But again, very cool stuff. And, so what is coming up next? What do you have kind of coming up next? Where people,
what's coming up next? Well, I'm still, I'm on The Bold, the Beautiful, playing Deacon Sharpe, a role that I originated in 2000. And now this month is our 35th anniversary for The Bold, the Beautiful, which is an unbelievable accomplishment for the show. And I'm so honored to be a part of it. This Saturday, if you're in the Los Angeles area, I have an amazing event going on Saturday, March 12th at 2 p.m. at the Barnes & Noble at the Grove. You can meet me in person. There is a fantastic event for Way of the Cobra. I'm going to do a reading from the book. We're going to have a moderated interview and Q&A hosted by James Lott Jr. We're going to have cool celebrity surprise guests. We're going to have refreshments. You can get the book there. You don't have to get the book. It is completely free and open to the public. So if you'd like to come, I suggest you get there early, but it is going to be fantastic. And just excited to announce that Way of the Cobra is now available on Amazon, and the ebook is available on Kindle.
There you go. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great stuff, man. I tell you, if I could get on a plane and fly to California, I would come see it, man. I would love
Excuses are not tolerated in this
dojo. Yeah, in this dojo, right? I know. But I got some prior engagements, otherwise I would. But
we'll give you a pass.
Definitely. But we would love to have you if you're ever in the tri-state area, man. We definitely got to hook up. And
I would love that. I get back there every now and again, so I'll let you know for sure.
We do some great events for autism, and if you happen to be there, we'd love to have you be a part of it.
Be my honor.
We got to work with some really amazing people over the years, Chaz Palminteri and Joe Montana. We've had some really great celebrity guests that come out and support.
That's terrific.
So and I appreciate that you've done some work with the autism community, and
yes, I have.
That's one of the areas that we do here with Autism Radio and Hope Saves Days.
It would be my pleasure.
Support the community. There's so many families that are struggling out there and need help, and that's kind of what we do. Sean, we were kind of grassroots, we're 100% volunteer organization that really goes out into the communities and help people that need help. So
God bless you for doing that. That's what it's about. It's about, being of service and paying it forward. And, hopefully that example inspires other people to do the same. And that is at the core of that philosophy in Way of the Cobra.
Yeah, I read that in your book, and it's
say in the beginning, learn what I'm going to teach you and become a sensei yourself.
Yeah, that's awesome stuff. And I just want to touch upon this, obviously, Studio City. Let's talk a little bit about that, because that's kind of your brainchild. That's
Studio City.
I mean, you won an Emmy for this. This is big time, man.
Studio City is a show that I've created. It's 15 years in the making. It's on Amazon Prime, and we were fortunate enough to be nominated for 19 Emmys our first year. We won 3. One of which is actually holding my phone up right. Oh, you can't see it, I guess. Anyway, my iPad. I have a new iPad holder coming tonight, and until then, I've got a box, and my Emmy's so heavy that I got it leaned against.
Oh wow, that's pretty awesome, man.
But for people who haven't seen it,
I mean, and again, I got to start watching a couple of the episodes. It's phenomenal, and if anybody has not seen it. Again, it's 99 cents an episode. That's nothing. I mean, come on. You can't even buy a cup of coffee then. You can watch some great.
Right. And, actually, I got to tell you, we were giving it away for free, and Amazon was going to get rid of all of the digital shows. And so without our even knowing it, they raised it to 99 cents. And so we were a little disappointed because we wanted to really build our audience and everything. And we thought giving it away for free was the best way to do it. It worked out pretty well for a guy named Bill Gates. And so, but for those people who haven't seen it, it's a show within a show. It centers around my character, Sam Stevens, who's an aging soap star. He works on the #2 soap opera in the world called Hearts on Fire. And, he's a guy that is just trying to figure it out, man. He's got all sorts of shortcomings and human faults, and has drama going on, not only on the show that he's on, but in his real life. And, we make you laugh, we make you cry, we make you think. So I really hope everyone will give it a chance. Studio City on Amazon Prime.
Well, it's awesome. I've watched the first 3. So
keep going, man. I'm telling you.
I'm going to keep going. Don't worry. I'm
really like it.
Watching them probably Friday night. I'll be finishing.
Okay. We're dropping 2 episodes in the next 10 days, I would say. We're really proud of them.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's really good stuff, man. And again, the book, The Way of the Cobra, guys, you got to get a copy of this. Sean, it's incredible. This will really change your life. If you really listen and read this book and follow The Way of the Cobra, it'll be life-changing. I can tell you.
It will be. I thank you so much. I can't thank you enough for being an advocate for the book. And I'm really looking forward to you finishing it and hearing what you think about the rest of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wish I would have got it a little sooner, but
you and me both.
But we got it. And we got through
That's
half of it.
Thing, right?
And a funny story, which I didn't tell you, we lost power at my house because we had a storm, so we had no lights. So not making excuses,
geez.
but I was there with a flashlight. So
see, adapt and overcome. I like that.
I was like this, man. I was trying to read it in the dark, and my wife goes, "Can you turn that light off?" She was kind of complaining at 2 a.m. So anyway, I just thought you'd get a kick out of that, Sean. So what else? What else you got coming up? Anything else coming up? That you're working on, or any future
right now? That's
projects.
Right now, that's about it. That's
you want to get out there for people to say, "Hey, I want to do this project," or anything.
Well, I get projects that come across my desk, and I mean, it largely becomes a function of whether or not I have time to do them. I just did a Lifetime movie that aired about a month ago, and I've got a couple of the things in the hopper. Nothing to that I can divulge at the moment, but I think people are definitely going to be seeing a lot more of me as the year progresses. I'll just say that.
We'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that.
That sounds great, man. I'm really excited for you.
All right, brother.
Couldn't happen to a better guy, honestly, and just super excited for you, your family, and obviously our fans. I mean, you have a ton of fans again, and we talked about this earlier. You got 2 worlds, right? You got the movie fans, and you got your soap opera fans, and the soap opera fans are super passionate.
Yeah.
And, I think we want to cross both those worlds to see Sean Kanan with the book.
Absolutely right. Well, listen, I really hope you and I have the chance to meet in person sometime, Paul. I've really enjoyed talking with you, and it'd be great if at some point we could do this again.
Yeah, no, I would definitely. And you're welcome anytime, Sean. If you have anything you want to get out there, we love to share with our listeners that can help other people.
So much.
Again, I just, I really mean this. Again, we're very particular what we talk about on our program. Again, I've been doing this for many, many years now. And, this book really can help you. And again, if you get your hands on it, and Sean, we're going to actually give a copy of the book away. I know we talked about this.
Yes, we did.
So we have one of our listeners who maybe you were one of the first callers to call our toll-free number at 1-877-HOPE-777. You can get a signed copy from himself, Sean Kanan, and we can mail that out to you.
Yeah, you just send me an email, let me know where it goes and to whom it goes, and I will sign it and get it out there ASAP. All right.
I'm a little jealous because I almost want to get my own signed copy, Sean, but.
Oh, God. You don't
just kidding. No.
We'll have to make that happen.
I'm a huge fan too. It's kind of surreal. I mean, we're actually kind of close in age here. I'm a little younger than you, but not by much.
Seems like everybody is these days.
Well, you look great, man. I must say that. And we did hear, you look phenomenal right now and in great shape. And that's actually another thing you talk about in the book. You said you lost, I think, 35 pounds and you're in the best shape of your life right now. And I'm
in pretty good shape right now for me. So,
yeah. Are you still training? Share with everyone.
I do. I don't train as often as I would like. I'm actually supposed to be training with Daryl Vidal early next week. Daryl played Vidal in the Karate Kid, Locust Valley Karate. Daryl and I have trained quite a bit. I have another sensei in Northern California. I train with him sometimes, and I don't train as often as I would like, but I still keep it all with me. It's all, it's all a part of me.
And someone told me a story, and I didn't read this anywhere, but somebody told me that you actually started with boxing first. You were actually doing regular boxing and then went to martial arts. Is that true?
Yeah, I started boxing early on, and I was boxing in a real rough neighborhood in the south side of Youngstown, and my parents realized very quickly that, these were guys that were doing this as a way of getting out of their socioeconomic situation, not their nice Jewish son from the suburbs. And so they actually directed me to the karate dojo.
Okay.
And at first I didn't want to go. Rocky.
Really? You resisted?
Yeah, well, Rocky came out. I wanted to be a part of that. And then once I was there, I was just bitten.
I don't know if you can see behind me, but you can see my poster behind my wall here.
Outstanding.
That's an original, man.
One of the greatest films of all time.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny. Sylvester Stallone did an interview recently, and, I was just listening to him about how films have changed today, and some of the films that were made a long time ago probably wouldn't be made today by Hollywood. It's interesting how he talks about it from that perspective. And I think that's what, a lot of these streaming services has been continue to keep a lot of the theater and a lot of the different stuff that you might not see today, and it gives people opportunities, which is awesome. So, well, listen, I just want a huge thank you, man. First of all, Sean, for taking time to spend with our audience and talk about the book. And again, I'm going to show one more time. Give a shout out.
Oh, man, the best. Thank you.
Definitely, pretty happy with this book today, guys. This will change your life. I guarantee you that this book will change your life. I've already read probably more than half of it. And it's just, honestly, it's some of the things I've learned along the way, and then some things I need some work on. I realized that as I'm reading, I'm like, wow, kind of resonated with me. I need to work on this area of my life, So I think it could actually help me long-term as well. And again, there's always little things that you can take from everything to make yourself better.
I say in the beginning of the book, I'm going to jump off after this because I have to do it. But I say in the beginning of the book, look, you're going to hear a lot of stuff that I said, I got good news and I got bad news. I said, I don't have a magic bullet or elixir that is going to turn you into this uber successful beast, which I call it Cobra, that you want to be. But here's the good news. It's like the Zen riddle. How did the ship get in the bottle? It was already there. Everything you need is already within you. You just have to learn to let it out and take action. And, a lot of times it's the messenger that's giving the message that finally gets through to us. If you're 16 years old and you're pissed off at your dad and he might be giving you great advice and you just can't hear it. It's a great present in lousy wrapping paper. And so I say, maybe this time I'm going to be the one who is going to allow you to finally understand something that you may have heard many times before, but it's going to resonate now. Wow.
I got chills, brother. That was good stuff, man. That's the best way to end the interview. I'll tell you.
I got to run.
Well, listen, I just want to say a huge thank you and your family. Please stay in touch, and we'll definitely do this again. Well, wish you, Sean, all the best. Take care, Sean.
Take care.
All right. Well, that was Sean Kanan. What a great guy. Hope you enjoyed that interview. It was phenomenal. And as we continue our journey here on Hope Saves the Day. Again, we took a little bit of a pause from our typical show, so I hope you enjoyed Mr. Sean Kanan. Again, get a copy of this Way of the Cobra today. As we always end our program, remember everybody, until next time, Hope saves the day. Take care, everyone.